Cabal suffers huge defeats in 2014, so the 2015 year of the sheep can also be the year of the sheeple. Benjamin Fulford, December 30, 2014. The year 2014 was a nasty one for the Zionist cabal-controlled G7 nations and their shrinking coterie of slave states. Now, the Pentagon is preparing to take the restored Republic of the United States of America into the 188-nation BRICS alliance, a move that would effectively and permanently end cabal rule, according to CIA sources. If cabal rule ends, then a jubilee, a one-time write-off of all debts, public and private, asset distribution, and a massive push to save the planet will make 2015, the year of the sheep and the Chinese zodiac, the year of the sheeple. The latest offensive against cabal rule has resulted in 30 arrests of senior officials in Israel. The disqualification of Benjamin Netanyahu by his own political party, and the fleeing of top Zionist ruler George Bush Sr. into a hospital to avoid arrest on charges of ordering the murder of President John F. Kennedy and war crimes, including mass murder. Last week also saw the presentation of evidence indicating the Committee of 300, that is supposed to be the secret government of the planet, is losing power. The evidence came in the form of the document that can be seen at the 14-minute mark of this video clip. We have confirmed from MI5 sources that the document shown is a real Committee of 300 document issued in 2010 and signed by, among others, Queen Elizabeth, the head of the committee. It is not the still mysterious document signed by Crown Prince William in Washington earlier this month. This document discusses the distribution of $48 trillion to a series of established power centers. The percentages each group gets indicate where the real power lies in this secret government. The biggest share, 20% or $9.6 trillion, goes to the financial agencies of the United Nations, such as the World Bank Group, the IMF, the International Finance Corporation, the BIS, the Bank of England, and the Bank of China. In other words, the bankers get the biggest slice. Next we see that the UN, the ASBLP Group, Philippines, the United Kingdom, China, and the Chinese Dragon royal family each get 10% or $4.8 trillion. Then, further down the totem pole we see that Queen Elizabeth, the European Union, the Federal Reserve Board, the Committee of 300, the Vatican, and the international authorities who signed this, each get 4% or $1 trillion, $920 billion. Think about it, the Federal Reserve Board, the people who own the U.S. corporate government, only get 4%. Finally, some people codenamed WZH and ASM get 3% and 2% respectively. A final 1% goes into some sort of savings fund. The first thing to note is that the United Nations takes top position, but the head of the UN is selected by hidden rulers using a secret process. The hidden rulers are almost certainly the usual suspects: the Rockefellers, Bushes, Rothschilds, etc. The next thing we need to pay attention to is who is not on this document, including Russia, Africa, India, South America, Japan, Germany, etc. The final thing to notice is that if all this money had really been disbursed in 2010, then the world would be a much better place than it actually is. According to UN estimates, it would only take $400 billion to stop environmental destruction and $200 billion to end poverty. That means these groups could save the world and still have $47.4 trillion to spend on luxury yachts, etc. Clearly, either this money remains frozen and the document failed to release funds, or else the money was not spent on this planet. No other explanation makes sense. In any case, in order to start cleaning up the mess the Zionists have made of this planet, we will have to keep chipping away at the visible aspects of their control. One case in point is Barack Obama, president of the bankrupt U.S. corporate government. This is the man who tried to orchestrate massive U.S. race riots through his Ferguson campaign. More recently, Obama publicly lied on behalf of a Sony movie marketing campaign when he blamed North Korea for the recent so-called hacker attack against Sony Pictures. He also publicly called for the release of a movie depicting the murder of the current ruler of a sovereign nation. Obama spent last Saturday playing golf in Hawaii with Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak. Apparently Razak failed to please Obama because while he was visiting the U.S., Malaysia was hit with severe floods and, as soon as he returned home, a third Malaysia airliner vanished. Now emails are being sent to this writer claiming the third vanished plane will be used for a nuclear terror attack in the Ukraine. We cannot verify this, but clearly some troublemakers are still on the loose. Nuclear reactors in both South Korea and the Ukraine, for example, appear to be under some sort of Stuxnet virus attack. The ISIS campaign is also still fizzing along, albeit at a slowing pace. The trouble in the Ukraine is also still burbling, but there too, the killing seems to be slowing down drastically. The attack on Russia's economy has now stopped, having failed to even come close to its goal of regime change there. Now there are growing reports of unrest in the U.S. and the open stealing of citizens' money by government goons. This is a sign of a terminally ill regime headed for complete collapse. The issue to pay attention to in the new year is whether the U.S. corporate government can meet the upcoming series of payments deadlines. The first is the December 31st year-end accounts settling. Then there's another big accounting deadline on January 31st. Japanese slave Prime Minister Shinzo Abe is now frantically looting Japan's savings to try to help his masters meet that deadline. The latest move he announced, having looted the pension fund, is a plan to steal postal savings. You can be sure his next move will be to try to drain the Norinkukan Agricultural Bank. Drug money from Afghan heroin and South American cocaine is also keeping the U.S. corporation on life support. The recent agreement to end the U.S. embargo on Cuba is also almost certainly connected to some sort of funds release. The real question, of course, is when will the Chinese and Arabs, the world's biggest creditors, finally pull the plug on the goons in Washington, D.C. and their secret UN masters? The other big question is when will the U.S. military take action to restore the republic? On this end, we are hearing many reports that patriotic elements of the U.S. military-industrial complex are on the move.